Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and this is a very cool motorcycle. Not only because of the technology, not only because it is the first hybrid electric motorcycle on the market that I know of at least, but because Kawasaki is trying something here, and they're pushing the envelope for what it means to ride on two wheels here in the 21st century. So, with that out of the way, you all are going to hear quite a few complaints of mine about this Ninja 7 hybrid throughout this video. But what I want you to know is that they're complaints because I care. They're complaints because I see the wasted potential in this motorcycle, and I see it as a version 1.0. This is practically a beta motorcycle here in terms of the execution of the technology and the riding experience. But that's not to say that they shouldn't continue and try to further improve this hybrid formula that they have right here. So for those of you who are entirely out of the know, this is a Ninja through and through. Kawasaki makes the Ninja 7 hybrid right here. They also make a Z naked version with the same technology. It is a 451cc parallel twin internal combustion engine, the same one essentially that comes out of the Ninja 500, paired up with an electric motor and a 48-volt lithium-ion hybrid battery. That means that you can theoretically get about 650cc class performance out of this motorcycle. But it also means you can ride it up to about 8 or 9 miles or so of city all-electric riding. And you can also engage e-boost, which we'll do here in the video, and get 0 to about 30 or 40 mile per hour or so acceleration, similar to that of a liter bike, of a 1000cc class motorcycle. The package you're looking at here stickers around $12,000 to $13,000. That being said, Kawasaki's already, at the time of this recording, putting $2,500 on the hood, if you will, on the windshield of this bike. And I have to think they're not selling particularly well at dealers. So if you find a dealership that ordered themselves a Ninja 7 hybrid, I bet you could walk out of there for less than $10,000 for a brand new motorcycle here. That being said, a Ninja 500 is lighter, is more fun, is just as economical, at least in mixed riding, as we found from our DM commuter fuel economy test, and is going to cost you a whole heck of a lot less money. So as it currently stands, I don't recommend this motorcycle, but we're going to talk about why, because I have enjoyed riding it and experiencing it, and I think with just a few key tweaks, Kawasaki can make this a really compelling package. And speaking of compelling, it really does look the part. I mean, this is an awesome looking bike. I love the combination of silver and green. I like that it's not just all one or the other. It's really handsome and aggressive, but also approachable looking. You've got the rear seat. You've got anti-lock brakes, both front and rear. You've got all the technology that you're going to want outside of cruise control from us here in front of us here in this TFT display. Before we do hop on the bike, let's give a quick shout out to the video sponsor, Arai. I am rocking the new Arai Contour X helmet. We're going to be talking about that more over our next few motorcycle videos, but I chose this helmet because some of my most trusted motorcycle influencers, such as Ryan over at Fort9 and Ian over at Big Rock Moto, also wear this helmet. And it's because those of us who ride often care about safety. Yes, we want to look cool. Yes, we want to have functionality, but safety is the biggest importance for us who have kids. We're trying to get home to our families and also make money for our families. So that's why I went with Arai, and that's why a lot of the leaders in this sphere do as well. Check the link below to get yourself an Arai helmet as well. Now, I am floating away in neutral right now. That's not to say I'm riding the bike. It's just the sun came out and I'm very, very toasty. But where to start with all the technology on this bike? Let's just start by taking off in electric mode, because that's kind of the party piece of this bike, right? Let's start out then. Right now, when you turn the bike on, it's in sport. And that means if I were to start it, the internal combustion engine would come on. But that's not what we want to happen. We want to start in electric. So I'm going to come to a stop. I'm going to hold HEV/EV. Now we're in electric mode. Now I can turn it on in neutral, and the bike is on. And I shift right here into first. It is a conventional transmission. And I am moving now. And you can hear it's shifting for me. Now, I don't think I want to make this an entire video on how this bike works. I think if you're going to purchase one of these, you can go through and watch more detailed videos on the functionality of this bike and how they all work. But what I want you to kind of take away is how the bike works from a general standpoint and what works well and what doesn't. So right here, this is actually pretty cool. I mean, I can ride this thing around full throttle right here. I'm going around this office complex and I'm buzzing around like a little electric bike. It's telling me my miles per kilowatt hour, very efficient there. And there's actually a small bit of regen, but it's not an aggressive sort of regen. It's kind of just a natural coasting feeling, and it's regenerating a little bit of kinetic energy back into the battery. On the left side of the screen, it's showing me my state of charge on the battery. You can see it just dropped down a little bit there. And it's shifting around. In fact, it will only shift for me. I cannot manually shift the bike in electric mode. So, how fast can you go in electric mode? Well, it seems to be about 40 miles per hour. So if I give it full tilt here, we're up into 4th gear. Yeah, about 41. Let's see, once I get on this back stretch, am I going to be able to go? Maybe with the downhill, I'll hit about 43, 42, 44, indicated at least. All right, so pretty quick there, and then I can coast it down. But herein comes the first issue. You cannot switch from electric mode over to hybrid mode at these speeds. You have to be going below, I think it was 16 miles per hour, either 14 or 16 miles per hour. So I will illustrate to you here on the road here in a minute the problems with that, but I'll explain it right now. If all of a sudden I am getting on the highway or something like that and I didn't hit any stoplights and I'm like, oh snap, I need more power, I try to switch into hybrid mode, there's nothing I can do. I've got traffic bottling up behind me. I'm like, oh snap, I gotta slow down right here, 16. Then I hold it. Then all of a sudden the engine comes on right there. And off I go. I have had real world situations so far riding this bike around where that has caused concern of mine. Even just this morning riding over here, I caught a green light coming out of my neighborhood and onto the road that the highway starts on. And I was like, oh man. So I actually had to pull over, slow down enough to engage the engine, and then I was able to get going again. But once the engine is running, it sounds like a little Ninja 500. And in sport mode here, it's got a little bit of electric oomph. So if I keep it in the right gear, that's a fun little sport bike. Again, shifting with my fingers, no sort of clutch, no sort of foot control on the left side. And then the next party piece is this e-boost button. So what you can do, if say you're at a stoplight or something, you come to a stop, you push e-boost, and then you see it flashing there, and then when I twist this, I'm gonna get an aggressive shove. Ready? Woo! That got me right up to 60 real quick. And then it goes away. It goes away. Oh, that is a cat. Why is there a cat here? Can I switch over into hybrid mode so as to not scare it? Kitty, kitty, kitty. Oh my gosh, it's a sewer cat. Oh, that is sad. Psst, psst. Hi, kitty. Psst, 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 psst. Kitty. Come here. All right, it's too toasty for this. Anyway, advantages to a hybrid motorcycle. You can come up on kitties and not scare them too much. And you can keep using that e-boost and keep pressing it, but every time you roll off the accelerator, it's going to go away and you have to press again. So again, if I come up to this light, take a right here, and I want full tilt. There we go. And now it's gone. And if I come through this roundabout and give it full twist again, I'm not going to have that same degree of power. Still a good amount of grunt though, it's just not the full e-boost power. But riding this around as a hybrid motorcycle is fun. My next issue comes in the decisions made regarding the automatic transmission. So, let me try to make this as succinct as possible for you all. There are two riding modes when you're in hybrid mode. There's sport and eco. In sport mode, you cannot ride this as an automatic motorcycle. You have to ride it as a manual. So you're using these buttons here on the left side in order to shift. Now Honda has had dual clutch automatic motorcycles for some time now, and I've owned one, I've ridden quite a few, and now Honda has the new e-clutch. So the CBR 650R that we had, that had a transmission where once you got going, you had to do the shifting, but it took care of the clutch for you. So it's a little different from its DCT, but very easy. And then you have Honda's full-on DCT, where you can just have it do all of your shifting for you. And in sport mode with the Honda DCTs, it'll hold gears very aggressively. You can ride that bike aggressive, and it'll most of the time be in the gear that you want it to be in. It's quite impressive. And for someone who maybe isn't super comfortable with manual transmissions but still wants to get on two wheels, it's a great solution. And that is what Kawasaki could have had here with the Ninja 7 Hybrid. They have the opportunity to have a fantastic automatic motorcycle. But instead, they have it so when you're in sport mode like this, you have to ride it as a manual, but it's these finger switches. So at that point, I'm kind of like, all right, well, I might as well just have something more like a traditional manual or something like Honda's e-clutch, where you can kind of ride it sort of as an automatic or sort of as a manual. But this is capable of being an automatic. So if I switch right here and I roll off the throttle and go into eco mode, now I can hit this ATMT, and this is an automatic motorcycle. However, look at what happens right here. I am full twist on the accelerator, and it is not downshifting. Again, I'm trying to go faster. Look how slow I'm going with full twist. In eco mode, it does not downshift for power, and it's so mind-boggling to me. Eco mode feels borderline unsafe on the Ninja 7 Hybrid. So here's what happens. You come up to a light, and the engine actually turns off. I totally get that. It's like a hybrid car. All right, you roll on, and until about 2,000 RPM, you go just on electric. But do you feel and hear that? I'm already in 6th gear at 40 miles per hour. Okay, so I'm rolling along. You know, that's fine and dandy. What if all of a sudden car's coming up behind me? I'm like, I gotta get out of the way. This is what happens when I twist my wrist. It doesn't shift. I don't understand the logic here. Okay, it's one thing for you to want to be as fuel efficient as possible, but don't take away the whole point of riding a motorcycle. The fact that I have a 450cc engine under me and this powerful electric motor, let me use it. So instead I can manual shift, and then it pulls away, and it'll hold that gear for a moment. Oh no, actually it goes fully into manual mode now. So now I have to either do the shifting on my own, or put it back into manual mode. This bike has the chassis and the brakes and the performance to still be a fun bike to toss around. I mean, yes, it's quite a bit heavier than something like a Ninja 500, but it's still built well. It still has Kawasaki's prowess when it comes to chassis and suspension, and it's a fun motorcycle when you get it in just the right conditions. You can come out of a roundabout like this, 3rd gear. Once I see that traffic is clearing up, I can hit e-boost. Come on, Tesla, pick a lane. There we go. I know you're turning. Ready? E-boost. And you can tell it's geared a little lower in order to shove that weight around a little bit more than something like a Ninja 500 or even a Ninja 650. So your top end's not going to quite be there like those other bikes. But here we go, back into eco mode. Put it in auto. is full throttle. It's downshifting, or upshifting rather, at 5,000 RPM at full throttle. Kawasaki had the opportunity to make a great automatic motorcycle that was efficient and quiet when you wanted it to be, so you could roll out of your neighborhood in complete silence, and then also very fun to ride for someone who doesn't want to shift the bike on their own. But instead, they made a half-assed effort at an automatic motorcycle, and instead just focused on having this bike that you can ride in silence at low speeds. But that's such a narrow use case, and I fully understand there's going to be people who say, oh, well, there's cities in Europe that this is designed for so that you can drive in full automatic mode, or EV like this, and then you can do your zero emissions through the city, get out into the twisties and go ride. Okay, so they built a bike that fits a very, very specific use case in a very specific niche in specific regions. But they could have had a bike that fit more people's use cases in more regions, and instead they squandered that opportunity. This is how the bike should work. I should be able to be leaving my house right here, I'm in full electric, and come out, all right, early morning, yeah, I'm not gonna wanna wake up my kids or the neighbors or anything with my sport bike, so I'm gonna pull out onto the road here. Yeah, nice shove, got a lot of electric range. And get up out of the neighborhood, driving along. Okay, now, let me put it into gas mode right here and fire up the engine. Maybe it starts at a low rev, disconnected at first to let it warm up a little bit, and then transitions in. Now, I'm sure they have technological, mechanical issues they're working with here, but all right, so now I'm in the situation where I'm stuck at 40 miles per hour, and thank goodness I have a stoplight here so that I can come down to a stop, slow enough, then press my hybrid button. Wait, there we go. Now it's going, and I'm away. My problems with the bike are not the cost or the technology. It's the execution and the lack of intuition. It's a bike that even after riding for a while, you gotta be thinking, okay, I might be getting on the highway here soon, so I better take it and put it into hybrid mode. Or, okay, I'm riding along here, I'm in eco, oh snap, all of a sudden somebody's coming up on me. I gotta shift down, I gotta be off the throttle in order to shift, okay. The other reason I know the bike is capable of riding more like an intuitive automatic is because you can have it in this ALPF mode, and that makes it so it does downshift when you come to a stop. So now it put me down in first so that when I take off, I'm in a good gear. So it's not like it's full manual mode, but if it's capable of that, why isn't it capable of shifting all the time for me? It's almost as if the Kawasaki engineers just didn't have time or couldn't be bothered to engineer a shift logic for this bike. Here we go, e-boost time. That still is definitely fun. Also, any sort of efficiency that you're going to gain with this bike over something like a 650, you're going to lose with the fact you got to put 91 octane premium fuel in it. That's going to cost you more. The Ninja 650 and the 500, those motors are totally fine running on 87 octane. So even if they might be slightly less efficient in certain riding scenarios, you're gonna end up paying more at the pump. All right, so here's the situation I was talking about with the electric mode. So say you pull out of your neighborhood, you come up to the stoplight, you're like, kind of, all right, electric mode, and then you get going, you're like, oh snap, wait, the highway's right here. I need to be in gas mode. Crap, I can't, there's traffic behind me. All right, so I'm actually gonna have to slow down here and pull off the road to slow down enough, then hold that, now I can go, except now I'm in eco, it's gotta go into sport, come on, shift, there we go, sport mode. It took me all that time just to be able to safely use all the power that I've got in this bike. I don't like that. I really don't. Another problem with the manual shifting is you can only shift in certain situations. So if I'm off throttle, I can't upshift. I can only downshift. And if I'm on throttle, I can only upshift. I can't downshift. And okay, some of you are gonna go, well, of course, that's why would you wanna upshift when you're off throttle? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, but if you're somebody who's been riding motorcycles for a long period of time, and you're used to a bike where you can simply pull the clutch in and go either direction, up or down, maybe you know that you just accelerated hard and you're kind of coasting in order to slow down and you don't need to go fast anymore, so you want to clutch in, upshift a few, and then let it back out. You can't intuitively do that on this motorcycle. You have to follow its shifting rules. And again, with the dual clutch in Honda, you can shift either direction as long as you're not going to over rev or under rev the bike. One last little feature that I forgot to talk about here is walk mode. And this is actually kind of cool. This is, again, a good use of the technology. I think this was smart for Kawasaki to add this because it further adds to the advantage of having this hybrid system. So what you can do is if you're at a stop, say you pull it out of your garage or you're in a parking spot or something like that, turn the bike on, get it in gear, and then press and hold walk. Now it's in walk mode, so I can push the accelerator forward and it only goes forward about 2 miles per hour. Then I can also rotate it backward, and look at that. The bike is moving itself backward at about 1 to 2 miles per hour. It's very nice. Say for, you got a steep driveway like that or something, you can walk the bike up or down it. It's kind of cool. And then you press and hold walk again, back in electric mode, and ride it like the bike was intended. So that's what I mean in that Kawasaki has this nifty technology. Add things like that that make this, that further add to this being a compelling bike to spend extra money on. You got to have it work well like that. That part works well. It's a cool bike, it really is, and I'm seriously happy that Kawasaki made it. I don't want that to come across in this video. It's just that I know that it can be better, and so I'm holding Kawasaki accountable here to make further additions to this bike, make a second generation, and make it better. Give us a fantastic automatic hybrid motorcycle here that I can ride quiet when I want to ride quiet, let me ride smooth when I want to ride smooth, and let me ride sporty when I want to ride sporty, and just free me from thinking about it. Make the bike smarter. Make it intuitive and natural rather than so contrived, because right now it feels like I'm riding a science experiment. If you make a bike that is truly good, people aren't going to care how much it costs. People will buy it. And then with economies of scale, it'll get cheaper and cheaper. Whew. So there it is, the Kawasaki Ninja 7 Hybrid. Very unique, very cool first edition. It needs improvements, and I really hope to see them happen. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the Ninja 7 Hybrid or any of the bikes we review, check the link below. I'll put the motorcycle playlist there. We are going to be transitioning bike vids over to DM Moto. So you're going to want to subscribe to that channel in order to get more motorcycle content. That's where we have the fuel economy test of the Ninja 7 Hybrid. Put here the DM commuter test. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, ride on. I do want to give a little epilogue to the video here, because last night, and this is actually the last day that I have the Ninja 7 here, I'm taking it back to Kawasaki today. Last night, some of the neighbor kids were playing around on our street here, and they were on their little bicycles, they were running around and they were doing little races. And I actually brought the Ninja 7 out and drove around the street with them in electric mode, and I was playing around, and obviously it's a little faster still than kids on bikes, but they can kind of keep up, and they were having fun. And it was a cool example of how you can have this awesome fully capable bike that can do 100 miles per hour with gas and running like a normal motorcycle and everything, but then around town here in our calm little neighborhood street with the kids and dinner time and evening, summer evening and everything, I was able to play around and just have it be quiet and peaceful and approachable. People don't want to hear the loud noise of a motorcycle engine going up and down the street, but no one cared that I was buzzing around in electric mode. So it was a really cool example of something that I couldn't do with any of the other bikes that are back there in the garage, but I could here with the Ninja 7 Hybrid. So I do really want Kawasaki to continue with this, And I'd like to see other manufacturers experiment with electrification. It just needs to be better than this. So it's a good starting point. It really is.